All right, and so you guys head off, trailing the two cars. You can see, if you're like you said, about 2 or 3 miles. You can see kind of the small dust clouds they're kicking up, but you can't see them in particular. However, Zach's powers are in full effect, and it's almost like you've got a compass right to them. All right, so I'm gonna skip over to Oak, and you're sitting in the back seat of the red rusted car with one of the cultists sitting next to you, and the other two in the front seat. And we'll say you've been driving for about 20 minutes. Would Oak have said anything?
No.
Okay.
Not a tick, not a pop, not a single sound.
Got it. So for 20 minutes, there's this awkward silence. And then one of the cultists says, so, did you really poison that guy back there?
He turns to him without moving most of his lower torso. He goes, I have more if you want to see.
He looks at you for a second, and he goes, that's hardcore. And the guy in the front seat turns around and he goes, all right, so me and my mate, we were debating. If you poison someone, all right, can they throw up after they die? See, because I think they can, but he was saying they couldn't.
Usually it is before death, but secretions have happened after death.
Oh, that's so sick. So, like, I mean, and they just continue on asking you about poisoning. Like, does it hurt?
Depends which one. The one I used, yes.
I won't play the whole thing out, but basically the guy in the front seat, not the driver, but the guy in the front seat and the guy next to you, start like pestering you with all kinds of questions, and I mean gruesome questions. Like, imagine 12-year-olds trying to talk about gruesome things they think are cool. And they're like, so I mean, do you like inject it? I heard you got to put the poison underneath the eyelid for it to work.
He takes a deep breath with his eyes closed. Poisons can be done in various different ways. Injection, as long as it gets into the blood flow of most things. Depends on also the poison, it might not even work through digestion. Sometimes it only works through digestion.
God, that is so hardcore. We need to start like a poison squad. We need to have like, I mean, that'd be so cool if we had like the poisoners. We could call no.
Every time the phrase hardcore is mentioned, I almost wake up and then quickly feign death again.
So about 45 minutes, and this is for both groups. It takes about 45 minutes. The group trailing the cars, you will notice that after about 45 minutes, the cars have stopped. Zach, you feel like they're no longer moving forward, or at least they've started moving forward much more slowly as if they're walking.
Okay, all right. I'll be sure to let probably Evelyn, since she'll be driving, know so she can slow down and compensate so we don't reveal ourselves too quickly.
You do see where you are, the terrain is even more flat than usual. There's no mountains, no jagged peaks, nothing but open desert and a few dead trees in this area. So no structures that's easy to tell from the 2 or 3 miles out that you are. Oak and Core, even though Core, you're a little gone at the moment. Oak, the car pulls up. I'm going to transfer you over now. The car pulls into a vast armada of vehicles. And we're going to say that the cars kind of pull here. Helps if I'm not in the GM layer. They kind of pull in this way, the top left, and they kind of pull into formation. All the cars have stopped. They're parked. But it's clear that this is the main force for Maneater. And it is quite extensive.
It's a couple cars.
Couple. A few. And it's very clear that they've stopped probably for the day. Most people are out of their cars. They're eating food on the hood or just shooting the breeze out back. And most of them are dressed very similar to what you've seen before. The one thing that you can tell is it's kind of hard to see where you are exactly, but towards the middle of the armada, there seems to be towering up above the other cars by about 5-10 feet, is a massive tank-like structure. And the guy in the seat next to you says, all right, we're here. I hope you've got a good story, buddy, because Manslayer is, well, she's not too kindly to people right now after having, well, whatever it was stolen from her.
Oak will nod to him and say, thank you.
And he goes, of course, man. We poisoners got to look out for each other.
Oak feels like he has taught these primitives something important.
We don't need the crown. All right, so you're taken out of the car, and some of the thugs actually carry the dead body of Lucian Core with you, and they begin leading you through all the other cars towards the center structure. And it's taking some time because you have to weave in and out, and plus they're carrying Core's dead body, and they're not very. It's clear these people haven't carried a lot of corpses in their day because they're like, you get the leg, stop dropping his head like that, and they're trying to bring him along, but it's slow going.
Wow, these are some D tier cronies that man-eaters got.
And eventually you begin making it, and as you get closer, you begin to see this tank-like structure is very much. It has treads, just like a tank. On top of it is more like a flat bed or open area. And you can see on one side of it is a massive cannon that looks like the biggest Gatling gun you've ever seen. Excuse me. Very large treads underneath it. And on top of it, it looks like a barge where it has a lot of open space to walk around. It has stairs lined by red and gold carpet that lead up to a throne that even from here you can start to tell is probably man-eater. And over to the left of that, there is what looks to be a spinning circle of flame. It's somehow, and as you get closer, you begin to feel whatever this is, Oak, is very, very magical. It's very powerful. It's almost like standing near a ley line. That kind of power. Either this is very powerful or someone's been soaking a lot of power into this. And as you get close, the cultists say, all right, whatever you do, bow before her, don't raise your head until she tells you to, and answer every question she asks honestly.
Oak will note this in his head, but he will give no response at this particular point.
Before we continue real quick, I'm going to switch over to the other group because it's been a few minutes. Now that you guys are aware that they're kind of stopped, what do you want to do?
Can we, like, see the forces? Like, are we kind of, like, a distance away?
You would be able to see them once you get about a mile away. At the moment, you're 2 to 3 miles out, so you're just too far away to see them. But you will be able to see them way before they would be able to see you, just by the size of what this armada is.
Zach suggests that the glint of the sun on the vehicles might cause some undue suspicion. I suggest we close the rest of the way now that I sense that he has stopped. I suggest we get out of our vehicles and go the rest of the way on foot as fast as possible.
Very well. And what do you suggest our approach should be once we are closer?
Well, we don't know for sure. Depending on the forces. If she has a hell of a lot, then I suggest infiltration, perhaps picking off a few scouts one by one, donning their headgear, donning their clothes, and going in incognito. If, however, It's a smaller force, one that we believe we can deal with on a combat level. Then we find a weak point in which to strike.
Very well. Then the plan is to remain fluid. What would you say our priority here is?
Kill Maneater, make sure Lucian and Oak get out safely.
So no acceptable losses.
Of course not.
Evelyn's like behind the wheel, staring straight ahead, not glancing at the group around her.
Yes, Evelyn?
I don't know if I'm really the best suited for sneaking around and taking out guards. Maybe it would be best if I stay here and keep the car going, and if we need a quick escape, we can do that. I just don't think this is really my area of expertise.
Do you believe that we will be able to exit her forces once we have entered?
I don't even know if you're going to be able to enter, she says, like wiping the sweat off her forehead.
Well, if we do what Domhnall suggests and have a fluid situation, Evelyn, perhaps you should at least come with us until we know exactly what we're dealing with. If you have to run back to the vehicle, that's fine.
Evelyn, are you capable of teleporting?
No, but assuming we're not going to be showing up within 5 feet of them, we're going to have quite a bit of distance to close to get to their main camp, too. During that time, she could always go back to the vehicle.
Do you have super speed?
I mean, she thinks back to when she was taking her classes and how she was forced to take more physical activity type classes that she did not want to take, and racing away as fast as she could from then after each session. She kind of nods at the "can you run fast" part.
Very well. Then I suppose that you would be the optimal choice for returning to the vehicle to secure an escape route.
Hold up a second, though. Evelyn, I think you're selling yourself out a little too short. When we were fighting for our lives, you didn't flinch or run away from that. I mean...
I didn't have a choice, she said, like, sweating some more.
Zach gives a shrug and says, our 2 teammates are in with the enemy. That doesn't seem like much of a choice either.
Yes, I would like to retrieve Core.
I mean, it's...
And Oak.
Yeah, she agrees, but, like, she seems reluctant still.
I'll just take it one goal at a time. How about that? First things first is figuring out exactly what we're up against. Okay?
Very well.
My suggestion is you remove anything that has a metallic or a shine to it, because with this flat terrain...
I will retain my sword.
Okay, with this flat terrain and that sun, we want to be as incognito as possible.
Okay.
Alright. When you're all ready, let's go. If
I
you don't
raise
mind...
my hand.
Yes, Domhnall.
At your mention of removing reflective surfaces, I touch the scales on my body. I am unable to remove these. That is insensitive.
Suffice to say, remove what you can. Maybe you can cover it up with a piece of clothing or something like that. And if you guys don't mind, since Jack and myself are experienced scouts, would you mind if we took the lead on this?
I would appreciate it if the 2 of you took the lead. Perhaps if I acted as some sort of backup, I would be better suited to such a position.
All right.
Where did Charlotte disappear to?
Charlotte is in the ATV with you guys. She just has been letting you guys plan and not saying a word.
Oh, okay.
She will actually. When you guys decide and start getting ready to go on foot, she will actually go over to the motorcycle and start wheeling it towards the back of the ATV. And she'll hoist it up with a little bit of strain, a little bit of effort, because the motorcycle is still pretty heavy, and attach it to the back of the ATV. And then if anyone looks at her while she does that, she just shrugs and says, if you need a quick escape, it might be best to have both of them in one go.
A good idea.
She nods. She goes, I may be grading you, but I don't like the idea of being stuck here and killed with you any more than you do.
Well, Jack, you ready?
Yes.
That's good.
All right. So I'm going to. Here's what I was thinking of doing. I was going to have Jack and Zach. You can either roll independently or kind of have one help the other. I want you guys to roll a prowl check. Here's the thing: finding them's not going to be that hard. You know, right? I mean, you know right where they are. And since you guys are taking the lead and acting as scouts, I'm going to have how quiet basically everyone's being, how stealthy is going to be largely dependent on Zach and Jack, because I assume you're kind of guiding everyone, go this way, don't step on that kind of thing.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, correct. Although I want to make it clear, I don't want to sneak up right so we're like within a nose hairs of these guys. I want to get until we're at least within visual range, like with binoculars. So like a good mile off or so. I don't want. We need to assess the situation. I don't want to prowl up at that close. Not yet.
Okay, in that case, then I'm not going to require a check. You guys are well-trained operatives. It's not like you would have forgotten how to do these things, and that far away, it would be almost impossible for someone, like, they would have to just be looking in the right spot to even come close to seeing you. So we'll say about a mile out, or we'll say about a mile out, there is a berm of sand, like a dune of sand, that could give you could basically lie across the top and it would give you a nice overview of the armada.
Perfect.
And with binoculars, you're close enough that you'd be able to see the shapes on the barge. It'd be really hard to tell who's who.
Okay. But I would obviously look through the binoculars that Mel gave me back up on the ship, on the truck, and of course I'd pass them over to Jack and to anyone else would want them. But we're just looking for basic. I know we can, like, do we see, even if it's in the distance, this vast freaking armada of vehicles and this big thing in the center?
Yes. In fact, you can see the vast armada very clearly. You can tell what type of vehicles they are, if they have machine guns or if they're bulldozers. You can see the big tank barge in the middle. You can even see the giant Gatling gun, which you and Zach, at least, and Domhnall would probably know this too. The fact that you can see that Gatling gun from here must mean it's massive.
After surveying everything, Zach will turn around and look towards Domhnall and Evelyn and Charlotte and say, I don't think we're going to be blasting our way through unless, and he'll look over to Charlotte, I've read and have learned significantly that the Corsairs can request certain arsenals to be delivered when the threat level gets too high. I would say this definitely constitutes as that, but what should I do? Should I radio us soon? Or should I ask you?
Well, you guys have been doing well so far. So allow me to give you my advice and then let you go from there.
All right.
The idea of calling forth more advanced weapons and machines of destruction, shall we say, or protection, is a tricky one. But the general rule of thumb to follow is, are you in immediate danger of facing an opponent you cannot defeat without these weapons, or are innocents around you going to be killed if you don't take things down now? Typically speaking, that is a very nasty weapon there, I agree. However, most of the equipment and technology around you, and even the technology of that, big as it might be, probably has nothing on what you could call down. So, my advice, I wouldn't do it yet. Wait until you're in a situation where you have no choice. But it's your exam.
Well, Zach will say to the rest of the group, I guess the two main plans still remain the same then.
It would seem so.
My suggestion is if we can do things... The thing I'm concerned about isn't about killing Maneater, of course that's our job, but it's making sure Lucian and Oak, our teammates, are alright. If we start blasting like crazy, they might not be prepared for it. They could get killed in the situation. Collateral damage. Alright.
Core is quick on the uptake. If we enter in hot...
Are you talking about the same core?
Well, yes. I do believe
Oh.
that I have known him for longer. The
All
sample
right.
size of years I can draw on is larger than yours.
I see. Well, I just remember French class and how long it took for him to... Suffice to say, this is neither here nor there.
Languages are not his strong suit.
All right. But I think we can... I think the infiltration approach might work, as long as we can get some of their outfits. That shouldn't be... They all wear masks, after all. And there's a lot of them. And I have certain abilities that can dull their senses a little bit.
Our hair is not as wild as theirs.
We can either cover up our hair, or we can quickly improvise and spike it up.
Very well. My hair is a point of pride for me, but I shall do as the mission requires.
Evelyn will undo her braid and, like, kind of glance around the others, drop her head forward, and then start shaking up her hair. And then she lifts her head back up, and it's almost as if it's like an afro on her head.
Well done, Evelyn.
Thank you. It's the one thing I know I'm actually kind of decent at, messing up my hair.
Zach will not really know what to say about that.
You
But-
hear a Charlotte shake her head and under her breath go, "That girl has got to get some self-esteem."
Zach is going to survey the landscape. Is there any features of the terrain between where we are on this dune and where their convoy begins that we could use for cover or hide behind or hide under? Old trees, broken rocks, ruins of some sort, something to break the line of sight.
They do exist. However, it's going to be difficult. This area was... well, actually, Zach, you have a detect ambush skill, yes?
No, I do not.
I do.
Okay. Yeah, roll me a detect ambush skill. Make it easier by 15.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I'm just letting you guys know, it's not like you were trying to tell if there was an ambush here. It was using that skill to determine this
Find
terrain.
a good spot for an ambush.
Exactly. So yes, they do exist, but they are few and far between. And this area is very flat, very wide open, and it's very possible it was chosen for these specific reasons. So there are dead trees, there are rocks every once in a while. It's not like a dune sea, but it's going to be difficult to use them. I'll just put it that way.
Well, Zach will say, rubbing his forehead, wiping some sweat off of it, and he'll say, this is a tricky situation for us to get up within striking distance easily enough.
I have a suggestion.
All right, I'm all ears.
As I mentioned earlier, Core is quick on the uptake. If we approach without regard for stealth, I am certain that if we gave some sort of signal, Core would be able to retaliate against his captors. Panic would ensue, certainly, and we could take use of that.
I'm worried about them dying, Evelyn says through her afro, which is now kind of sinking, covering her eyes.
Listen, it's clear that they're outgunned in the camp, and who knows what Maneater herself can do. I mean, a lot of their immediate protection is up to what Oak can say to her. But I was thinking more of luring one or two investigators out and then snuffing them out, their lives out, piecemeal, until we get 4, 5 if Charlotte comes with us, dead. And if I knew this ahead of time, damn it, we could have taken some of the clothes off the bodies that we already did kill. But they're already messed up, mangled anyway.
Very well.
Well, I mean, I'm open to other ideas too. I'm just like you guys, just kind of coming up with a plan based on what we got.
I believe that your suggestion is the most doable at the moment. We draw them out, we take their skin, and we progress.
Okay.
I'm
Zach
sorry,
is
what?
too distracted to address that, and he says,
I do believe we're not going to skin them.
"No, we're gonna just take their clothes and their masks."
Ah,
Yes.
my mistake.
Yeah.
I'm proficient at skinning animals, just in case that comes in handy.
Well, who knows? Zach says as he rubs the space in between his eyes above the bridge of his nose, and he'll say, "So, who here is good at lying low and staying quiet? Show of hands." And Zach's gonna raise his hand.
Charlotte raises hers.
I put mine about halfway up.
Yeah, Jack raises his halfway up. I mean, I'm kind of bulky.
Evelyn rubs her arm, but doesn't raise it. She can't see you guys right now through her hair, but she kind of feels like she's the only one who's not raising her hand.
Evelyn,
that's
you
a good
have super
instinct.
speed. You should be able to approach quickly, should you not?
Super speed?
Right. You affirmed my question earlier.
I affirmed it. I affirmed it?
Yes.
I mean, you see her clawing at her hair, kind of bringing it up so she can actually see you. I mean, I can't actually run superhuman. I just can kind of move faster than, like, let's say your average fat kid.
Ah, my mistake. I had thought that you had an ability of use.
I told you I wasn't really good for this kind of thing.
I'm certain that you have some hidden talent that will be useful in this situation.
Well, we know she can drive, that's for sure. Maybe we can use this to our advantage. How would you feel about running distraction, Evelyn? It will make our approach much easier if if a few of them peel off or you show the attention. It takes some of their attention away, you know?
You want me to do this by myself?
Well, the rest of us can sneak up. You said yourself you were comfortable going back to your vehicle and providing assistance that way. This would be the same idea, just a little different.
I am not the most skilled when it comes to sneaking. Perhaps I could accompany Evelyn in this.
You see Evelyn nodding furiously.
Okay.
If they somehow catch up to the ATV or take it out, I'm done for.
Well, we're all really done for there. Listen, there's not going to be any easy choices here, alright? We're going to have to fight people. We're going to have to kill them. We just have to figure out the best way to do so. If you don't think this is the best way, and Zach will kind of cross his arms and give a slanted smile. He says, if you don't think you can do this, then there's no need for us to risk everyone else. I mean, you graduated top of the class, Evelyn. I would imagine out of everyone who could do this, you would.
Right. I'll do it. Her head kind of lowers, not looking at you.
Zach looks uncomfortable, realizing he might have just been a verbal bully there, but shit has to get done. He'll apologize later. As he says, all right, so then I guess we'll split up into two groups. Domhnall and Evelyn will be in the vehicle, and they'll run a little bit distraction, screening myself and Jack from approaching the camp itself, taking out only two guards, donning their clothes, infiltrating through and getting to Oak and Lucian, killing Maneater, and then escaping.
Oak, when you get to the bottom of the stairs, Maneater kind of sits up and goes,
Oh, a guest. And who might you be?
My name is Oak.
I see. And tell me, Why have my minions brought you before me?
I'm unsure about their intent, but mine is to join arms.
Is it that easy? That easy? You just walk right up and say, I would like to join you? Why should I care?
Oak has the smallest grin on his face. I have something you want.
She sits forward, and her smile disappears.
And what would that be?
I have noticed that in your program has shown me something that you might be interested in.
The only thing I'm interested in at the moment is getting my beloved children back.
And one of the cultists says, Manslayer, this man was with those who stole the children. He claims to have defected and killed one of his comrades as a token of betrayal. She looks back to Oak.
Is this true?
Oak is so glad that he taught that one minion the word betrayal. As you can see right next to me, he is quite dead.
I see. Come up here. Kneel before me.
Oak stands up from kneeling and goes over and kneels.
Alright. She stands up from her throne, takes one of the devices from on her throne that looks like a pistol, and she says,
Do not move.
and then she calmly points the pistol at you. Are you going to do anything?
No.
Okay. She pulls the trigger, and you're hit by a dart. If you could, please roll to resist non-lethal poison.
Oh boy, my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I rolled one.
All right. You're well versed enough to understand this feeling. The feeling like you're starting to feel like you've been hit with some sort of truth serum. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Because you have lots of experience with things like this, if she asks you a question, I'm going to give you a hard save. Basically, if you roll 18, 19, or 20, you can say whatever you want. If you don't, you have to tell the truth, though I'm sure you, as a player, understands that that's sometimes a broad thing. She sits down, and she waits a few minutes, saying nothing. Some of the people around start being agitated and nervous. Does Oak show any signs of anything?
Not much. He stands still, dissecting exactly what is going on throughout his body.
Man-Eater says,
You are going to tell me everything I want to know, aren't you?